Alright everyone, welcome back to the channel. I know it has been forever since I've dropped a book review and I'm really sorry about that. I've been really busy with school and applying to college and everything, so I decided to take November and most of December off and just give myself a little break just to get all that in order, but I promise I am going to be more consistent about posting. There's just a lot going on right now, so if you guys see a lack of videos over the next couple weeks, just please understand I've got a ton going on. But do not worry, I am not abandoning this channel, it will still be going on. As our first official video back on the channel, we are going to be going back to one of my personal favorites, the Arc of the Scythe series, and this week we will be covering Arc of the Scythe Book 3, The Toll, by Neal Shusterman. As always, format for the book review, summary of the story, pros, cons, and then my final thought and ranking of the book. So, with all that out of the way, let's get started. So, 3 years after the sinking of Endura at the end of Thunderhead, Goddard has now taken over the Scythe completely and has started to implement his New Order ideology into the Scythe. Now, because of Goddard's actions and his new ideology that he's implementing, a civil war is basically broken out between the Old Order sides and Goddard's New Order sides, and the entire Scythedom is just in chaos. After 3 years of searching, Rowan and Citra have finally been uncovered from the wreckage of Endura and have been revived and brought back into this new, crazy world, and now the two of them have to figure out what they need to do to stop Goddard. During that 3-year time period, Scythe Faraday and a bunch of the Nimbus agents have finally found this mysterious island that the Thunderhead did not know about, and have now begun to implement the Thunderhead's final plan for humanity. As the only person in the world who can communicate with the Thunderhead, Greyson has now taken up a position as someone called the Toll, and has now become the leader of the tonists. So all these groups have to work together to figure out a way to bring Goddard down once and for all. But as they work to uncover the truth and take out Goddard, a lot of stuff gets revealed, and the world will never be the same after everything comes to an end. So, first thing I'm going to be talking about for the first section of the video is the social commentary that Shusterman puts into his book. With the Thunderhead not talking to anyone aside from Greyson, everyone just becomes lost and uncertain of what to do. And I can completely see this happening, because if humanity somehow created a super benevolent AI and it just suddenly stopped working, everyone would be completely just shell-shocked and uncertain what to do. And Shusterman does a very good job at showing the pure just uncertainty and chaos of a world that has lost its benevolent AI overlord. And I really do like that part of the book, because it very much is a reflection of kind of the real world scenario. If we, right now, had a super benevolent AI and it stopped working, we would all lose our minds and not know what to do. And this also comes up as Greyson has now become the Toll. He is now sort of this pseudo-religious figure that the tonists is looking towards, because he is the only one who can talk to the Thunderhead. So now he is very important and is believed to be the bridge to the Thunderhead and the rest of the world. So this is honestly another very good, cool social commentary on religions in general in times of chaos. Because in times of chaos, things like this happen. And I think Shusterman very much does a really good job at implementing that part of his story into the book. I really did enjoy sort of the social commentary from Greyson's parts of the book. So one thing I kind of did notice from this book, this isn't necessarily a con. I didn't think it was worth putting into the con section of the book, but one thing about the social commentary is there isn't anyone really like a sort of false prophet type of thing. There isn't like another separate group to challenge Greyson as his role as the Toll. There is somewhat towards the end, but Shusterman doesn't lean into that very heavily. It's sort of a side thing. But I think what could have made this better is if there had been someone who was claiming to be able to talk to the Thunderhead and was completely lying about it. That would have made, I think, the social commentary point a lot stronger in this book. As it stands in this book, it's still a really good part of the book, but I feel like if we had sort of a false leader sort of thing, then the point would have been a bit stronger overall. So another sort of social commentary thing that Shusterman does in his book is within the tonists, there are very fringe groups, and they're called the Sibilants. And I very much do appreciate that part of the book, because groups like this, there are always outliers and very much more extreme types of the groups. So it's good to see that Shusterman took the time to put a group like the Sibilants in, because naturally a group like the Sibilants would form in a time of chaos. And again, I really do like Greyson's part of the book. It is probably one of the better parts of this book as a whole. Okay, so second thing I'm going to be talking about for the prose section is Greyson. So Greyson had been in the series before. He played a pretty big role in Thunderhead, but he was more of a secondary character, and even then he didn't have a super big role to play. That book was a lot more about Scythe and Rowan, but in this book, Greyson really steps into his own, and that is really because Shusterman puts him front and center as the main focus of this book. The Toll is very much Greyson's book and his moment to shine, and I really do like it, because Shusterman does a very good job at writing Greyson, because as we're following him becoming the Toll, he's struggling, like, what should he do? What's the right move? How should he deal with the Sibilants? There's a lot of stuff that he's dealing with that is very smartly written and just a lot of fun to read, because Shusterman does a very good job at having us empathize with the kid, because he never wanted to become a leader of a religious movement, but he was pushed into that position because of the Thunderhead. And again, Shusterman does a very good job at writing that, and Greyson, I think, definitely grew on me as a character from this book, because I enjoyed him in Thunderhead, but in Toll, like I said before, he really comes into his own and just becomes this really cool, really charismatic character, and I really do enjoy Greyson in this book. Okay, so number 3 for the prose section, we're going to be talking about Goddard. Goddard is the main threat through this entire series. I'm not going to spoil the ending of book 2 in case you want to talk about it or read it, but Goddard very much is the overarching villain for the entire series, and I think Shusterman does a very good job with Goddard, because Goddard is one of those villains where you just want to see him fall, and when Scythe and Rowan are able to get one over on this guy, you very much appreciate it, because we even jump to Goddard every once in a while during the book. In those parts of the book, you just see how insane Goddard is, and we get a good look into his ideology and what motivates this guy, and when you really read into Goddard, you are very much like, okay, this guy is psycho, and he needs to be dealt with now. Again, he very much is one of those villains where you want to see him fall. He's not very empathetic, and he doesn't really need to be, because his ideology is insane, and you're just like, okay, Scythe, Rowan, Greyson, you guys need to deal with him as fast as possible so that this can stop. And I really do commend Shusterman for making such a, what can sometimes seem as a cartoony villain, very hateable, and you want to see this guy taken down. And I really do enjoy Goddard as a villain for this series. So before we jump to the next point I want to talk about for the prose section, I want to talk about Goddard very fast. So with Shusterman making such a memorable villain with Goddard, I really wanted him to have sort of a definitive ending, like we see him die. I wanted to see that, but unfortunately we don't get that, and that's kind of a bummer for me. Because, again, Shusterman made such a memorable villain that I really wanted to see him die. We don't get that. We get a very quick section with Scythe Rand, and it's more about her bringing back Rowan's friend, Tiger. And the implication is that Goddard did die, but I would have preferred a definitive he's dead type thing. Again, Shusterman did such a good job, I wanted to see Goddard fall and be defeated, but we never get that, and that's the one kind of disappointment for Goddard as far as I'm concerned. Shusterman doesn't give him a definitive death. Point number 4 for the prose section is going to be the Thunderhead. So just like in book 2, Shusterman does a very good job at having us empathize with the Thunderhead. Shusterman does what he did with book 2 and just ups the ante a lot. Because throughout the book, he and Greyson are talking back and forth to each other about his final plan, but unfortunately, the Thunderhead cannot just openly admit what he's planning. He has to kind of keep a lot of his plans secret until the very last second, and Shusterman does a very good job at writing the Thunderhead's uncertainty and fear, because like I said before, Greyson and the Thunderhead don't even agree on what to do in certain sections of this book. And during the sections where it's just the Thunderhead's perspective, Shusterman does a very good job at showing us the Thunderhead's fear and uncertainty, because he, for a while, has been like this sort of benevolent, all-seeing eye for the human race, but now the Thunderhead doesn't know what to do. He does have a plan, but it's a plan that the Thunderhead doesn't have full confidence that it's going to work. And because of that, it makes a very good dynamic, because Shusterman is essentially having us empathize with an all-seeing eye robot, and it's awesome, because Shusterman again does a very good job at humanizing the Thunderhead. We all have the same emotions that the Thunderhead's feeling at this point. He's like extremely uncertain about this plan. He doesn't know if it's going to work, but he's blindly putting his faith into Greyson that this is going to work out. And it's a very human and just really good section of the book. And again, I really enjoyed the Thunderhead, especially his interactions between him and Greyson. And those were kind of some of the highlights of the book, because it humanized the Thunderhead to us, and it gave us a better perspective of how he sees the world. And I really did enjoy the Thunderhead in The Toll. Okay guys, so starting off the con section, there's only really one point I want to discuss that is a downgrade for this book, and that is Citra and Rowan. So let me just say this right off. Citra and Rowan aren't bad characters in this book. Shusterman continues a lot of what I liked about Rowan and Citra as characters. The problem is the two of them aren't really in this book a whole lot, and that is a kind of a bigger problem for me, because I really liked Rowan as a character. Like, he was probably my favorite. I loved what Shusterman did with him in Thunderhead. He's probably my favorite character of the series, and Citra is a very good character. I never got as attached to her as I got to Rowan, but I still liked the two of them in the series together. They were really good characters. I think the one problem that this book has is it doesn't split the time very evenly. Citra gets a lot of parts of the book, and that's fine, but Rowan more or less is just completely forgotten until towards the very end. And even when he's actually in the book, he's got like one or two sections towards the beginning and the end. For the most part, he's non-existent in this book. Even the sections Citra's in, there aren't a whole lot. She has a couple of things in the beginning. We follow her throughout the story, but we're not consistently following. Like I said before, this book is very much Rowan's book. Rowan is largely the main focus of this book, and I really liked what Shusterman did. I just wish Shusterman had found a way to sort of balance having the three characters share time in the book without completely forgetting about Rowan and very sparsely using Citra. That's just the one thing. I wish he had found a way to sort of balance the time that the three of them had. But other than that, I really do enjoy this book as the finale for the Arc of the Scythes series. Okay guys, so final thoughts on the book here. Overall, I very much did enjoy The Toll as the conclusion for the Arc of the Scythes series. All the characters are very well used, aside from that problem with Citra and Rowan not getting a whole lot to do. But aside from that, everyone else is very good. I really like the Thunderhead. Greyson's part was very good. And overall, I do think this is a very fitting conclusion for the Arc of the Scythes series. And the entire series is very much really worth reading, and I would very much recommend this to anyone who likes a very good dystopian type series and just wants to check out something very cool to read. I highly would recommend checking this out. So I'm going to give Neil Shusterman's The Toll an 8 out of 10. If you guys have read the Arc of the Scythes series or have read The Toll, please do not be afraid to leave your thoughts down in the comments. I want to discuss the series and see what everyone thinks of it. I hope you guys check out the series. I definitely did enjoy it. If you guys are going to discuss the series in the comments, please try and keep it spoiler free for anyone who hasn't read the series. That's all I'm asking. Alright guys, we have finished the Arc of the Scythe series, so you guys know what that means. Next video after this will be a ranking the Arc of the Scythe series. So make sure you guys are subscribed and look forward to that video coming out soon. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please do not forget, like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you do not miss anything. If you guys want to follow me on social media, my Instagram is Riley Murray Book Reviews. My Facebook is also Riley Murray Book Reviews. My Twitter is Riley T. Murray. I will leave links to all those accounts down in the description. Also, down in the comments, if you guys have book recommendations you want me to check out, leave them either down in the comments or on my social media pages. Either way works. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you guys are subscribed so you do not miss the Ranking the Arc of the Scythe series. That should be out pretty soon. So, till then, have a great weekend, and don't forget, keep on reading.